Welcome to the Parent Guide to GCSE.com podcast. This is episode number 3 and today's guest is Kamal Ellis-Hyman.
Hello and welcome to the Parent Guide to GCSE podcast. We are here today with Kamal Ellis-Hyman, who, weirdly enough, we used to teach way back in the day and now is an actual proper grown-up, which is frankly scaring us a little bit. But to give you a bit of background, Kamal was Youth MP for Peterborough. He has, in 2005, won the National Entrepreneur Award by Peter Jones. Am I getting that right? Yeah? Something along those lines? 2015.
2005, I was probably in your class.
I say 2005, dearie me. I'm not sure we should be doing this in the morning because I'm clearly still asleep. So he's now running Aim a Little Higher, which I'm going to let him explain a little bit more about.
Awesome. Yeah, so Aim a Little Higher. Basically what we do is we get to travel the UK, speaking in schools, primary schools, sixth forms, colleges, and we started off providing these motivational speeches. It'd be like an hour, really high energy, really interactive to just give students a boost. And then we realised we were sort of coming in once, making an impact and disappearing. So we now deliver workshops, we deliver like 6-week programmes, we're working on a year-long programme because we want to be there like consistently. And the mission is really trying to be like the big brother to these students and be like a consistent adult with giving them some positivity. So yeah, it's what we get to do weekly. It's awesome.
So what sort of age group are you working with generally?
I'd say mostly I get called for year 10s and year 12s, mostly. However, do a lot of year 11s, a lot of year 9s and primary schools. We've got like a digital program called How to Be a Superhero. So I'll go in 3 times, but for 6 weeks they get a daily video with a mission about a different aspect of what makes a superhero, which was an excuse to talk about superheroes, but actually has also been really helpful for the kids to get their heads around things like resilience and communication and focus and that kind of thing. So, it's awesome. It's the best thing I've ever done.
So I'm having vague memories of seeing something on Twitter where they were wearing capes.
Graduation day. Yeah, on graduation
Nice.
day they come in their whatever they want to wear, whatever special uniform or favourite superhero costume, and they get their certificates and they come up to the front with like Spider-Man theme tune playing, and yeah, it's awesome.
Wow. And tell the truth, is that an excuse for you to wear a superhero costume as well?
100%. I get my little eye mask, my cape, and I feel young again. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I need to see a picture of this.
And are you your own superhero, or are you I'm always Batman if I have to choose?
Oh
Obviously.
no, I'm copyright free. I'm just Super Kamal from Aim a Little Higher HQ.
Nice. So I think probably the most common question we get at the moment is how on earth do I get my child to actually care? Because parents, particularly it seems with boys, are really struggling to get their children to either admit that they want to do well or actually want to do well. We're not entirely sure which one it is. So what sort of advice could you give for people struggling with that sort of issue?
So the way we started out was sort of going in and saying, hey, work harder, it'll be worth it, work harder, and realised that that's not the language that they need to hear. So we sort of work backwards. We always start with know yourself, which is all about getting young people to actually think about who they are now, like who they are now, before we start talking about where you want to go and who you want to become. Because I think we spend a lot of time sort of saying, well, look, here's what you can do in the future, here's the benefits. And they're like, right, but I have no idea who I am now, let alone 5-10 years down the line. So I think where I was lucky is my parents spent a lot of time letting me sort of explore and get to figure out who I am and making it okay to mess up. As long as I never lie, that was the one thing. It was like, mess up, make mistakes, just don't lie to us about it. And having that freedom to be a bit silly and try karate and want to leave after a few weeks and play football and have them watch me even though I was awful, and just it just gave me that freedom to like, okay, let me just try everything. So I think the first thing is supporting them to get to know themselves, and there's loads of ways to do it. we have this game called This or That we play with students, and it's just binary questions. Hey, would you rather skydive or deep sea dive? Would you want to live in the same area you grew up or go and move out? Would you like to work for a company or own your own? Do you discuss issues? Do you keep them to yourselves? And we do it for about half an hour, and all it is just getting young people to go, oh, I'm a bit of both, but I'm mostly this, and just start to get comfortable in identifying themselves. And that all came off the back of my first job in a bowling alley, when I got asked to pick up some poo, and I thought, maybe this isn't for me. And I went home and I got 4 blank pieces of paper, and I wrote the word talent, skills, hobbies, education. Wrote down all my talents, but took away the power from the word talents, not thinking like Jay-Z, Beyonce, just anything I'm naturally good at. Wrote it down. Skills, anything I've learned. Hobbies, anything I enjoy. Sleeping is not a hobby. I say to students every single day of my life, it feels on that exercise, like you can't write sleeping as a hobby. But I really enjoy it. Like, no, you don't. You don't enjoy sleeping. You enjoy the feeling of waking up. You enjoy the idea of bed, but you don't enjoy sleeping. And then education. But again, not grades. Just what have you learned? So I had some teachers I didn't get along with. I learned how to sit in that class and still make it through to the end.
I'm sorry if I was.
It wasn't you. It wasn't you. I know. I'm not going to name names, I guess.
Yeah, probably safe.
But no, like even learning how to manoeuvre around that situation.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. I wrote in history. We had to do research, so I wrote researching down. I learned how to get a free ice bun at lunchtime.
Nice.
With the rest of my meal. So I wrote negotiation down.
How did you learn? How did you do that? Because
I
that's an
made-
important skill I need to learn.
I made friends with Emma, who was like the boss lady.
Oh,
Right? It was always
yes.
really nice to her.
We love Emma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Emma was awesome, legend. And then I had 2 lunch ladies who like I got on really well. I was always really nice to. So I sort of get there and be like, I've only got enough for the pizza and the drink. Can I get a nice bun, please? And
This is outrageous.
give them the look, and they're like, oh, go on. And it was great.
Nice. So the moral of the story is, if you are nice to people, you
Oh,
get more
yeah.
stuff out of them.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I like this
But
moral.
also, don't just be nice to them when you need the ice bun.
Yeah, no, be nice all the time.
We used to like go into Emma's office at break, and just say hi and see how she was, and go and take a nice bun on your way out. I'm like, oh, thank you, Emma. So yeah, but little things like that we think, it's just part of the fun of school. Actually, it's a skill that you can use later on in life. The negotiating of the playground. I remember year 7, and I never knew students could get that big. And just negotiating where we stand and where we go, and making friends with like 2 year 11s, so at least there was someone older to have our backs, and just all those little bits of school that you go through day to day, but no one doesn't get graded. You don't get like a certificate for surviving the playground, but actually help you in real life. And we wrote all those down, circled the top 3, started a business called the Movement Street Dance Academy, taught street dance across Peterborough until it failed, which was beautiful.
Yeah, well, that surprises me, because you managed to teach me to tuck, which, for those of you that don't know, is when you do the little hand movements in dance, and it's all very intricate. And I was maybe 6 months pregnant at the time, so I was roughly the size of a house, which must have made it a little more challenging. But you were very patient with me.
It was, to be fair, it went well, but we could only do an hour after school club, and we decided to both do the same clubs. So it got to the point where we were like, we can only ever do 5 schools. And we're like, we haven't thought this through. So yeah, there was a really quick ceiling on the business, which was great.
Did he ever go into your classroom at lunchtime with a nice bun, just out of interest?
I can't remember. I don't think he ever brought me a nice bun.
Oh, okay.
But again, you were nice to me as a teacher, and so I was happy for you to use my classroom at lunchtime when you needed a rehearsal space. Because, that's just how it works.
I try and teach students that you are a brand. You're not just another student, you're literally a brand. So the way you treat everyone, the way you carry yourself, the way you deal with teachers you don't like, the way you deal with arguments, it's all going to come back to your brand. You don't leave school with just grades, you leave school with a brand. And that's why
I know a school you need to go into. Which I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, I can name a few. I can name a couple. But yeah, it's like trying to create that complete package. So I think as a parent, if you can just let your child know it's okay to experiment and figure out who they are, And even if you can gamify it in some way, there's a great book called, I can't remember what it's called, Interview Me. And it's just a book of questions. Every page is like 20 questions, and it's just a really fun, do it with my wife on long journeys. And just open it, all right, answer this. And it's just an awesome way of like speaking and hearing yourself and being like,
Yeah.
I've learned that about myself. And just the foundation of who are you, like who you are, and then let's talk about the future. So yeah, it's got to start there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, because I think that is why we find a lot of students struggle with motivation, is because if they don't know what they want to do, because they don't know who they are, so they've got no clue about what they want to do when they leave school or who they want to be. And to be honest, nowadays you don't just kind of leave school and become a thing.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a teacher from the very beginning, because I knew that it was something I was good at.
Mm-hmm.
I am good at taking information and putting it into people's brains in a way that makes it click for them.
Yeah.
That is my probably top skill. And I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. But now, I mean, I'm kind of teaching. I'm still part of I'm still kind of part of the education system, but I'm not a teacher anymore.
Yeah.
And very few people now go into a career and stay in that career. You don't get in a job and then go, right, I'm going to work my way up until I run the company. Because that's not how it works anymore.
Yeah.
And so all these skills that you're talking about, all the transferable stuff, the way that you build your character is something that you then take with you as your CV. It is, as you said, your brand. And students really struggle with seeing the future and actually kind of looking forward at what could I do, because there is no clear picture anymore. It's not, I'm going to work in the local factory and that's that, because they're my choices. There are so many different things that you can do now, aren't there? So
yeah, and even within a thing. So I always say to students, like, you've got the students who know exactly what they want to do, you've got people who have no idea, and then the in the middle people who I call like the something ins, where like, I just want to do something with sport, something with, and I'm sort of now saying, great, that's good. All I knew is I wanted to entertain people, and I quite liked helping people. So acting made the most sense because I like Will Smith. But actually, becoming youth MP was like, oh, I get to help people. I need to be engaging on the stage or they'll fall asleep. So now I entertain and help. And everything's just grown from those two things. So yeah, if you can even just find your something in. Something where I'm teaching people, something where I'm helping, something where I'm growing, where I'm get adrenaline or whatever those things are. And then start mapping your career from that point.
But all too often it's the students who have no idea that in any school, any year 11, year 10 particularly, you ask them the question and so many times I don't know. So it's very difficult to have those goals if you don't know which direction you're headed to.
That's why I liked your idea with the setting out the 4 different things and just making a note, what can I do? What do I do well? What skills do I have? Because sometimes sitting down and making it that black and white helps you figure out, actually I hadn't really thought about it like that.
I think the secret to parenting or to working with young people in general is just asking the right questions. So like my daughter comes home and I say, how's your day? And she's like, okay, like, what did you do? Nothing. What made you laugh today? Oh, Jamie made me laugh. And it's like, okay, cool, we've got to ask the right questions. So rather than what do you want to do or what do you want to be, which makes them panic and go, oh, I don't know. It's like, oh, what do you enjoy? What makes you happy? What inspires you? What do you find easy? What did you used to find hard and now you find easy? And sort of asking those questions that make them explore themselves. And the whole time you're listening going, okay, I'm getting a picture of who you are.
I mean, we have a lot of parents who ask those questions, how was your day? And it is that answer.
Yeah.
Right. I'm off to the bedroom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone, I think, knows how to parent, but I think, well, they think they do.
Yeah.
But actually, asking the different questions, as you just said, is probably fabulous advice.
Yeah, I think, and don't get me wrong, I think nobody knows how to parent and we're all just improvising every day.
That's what I was going to say. I spend most of my life thinking, I'm probably doing this wrong.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
What's happening?
Absolutely. So it's never like a thing of like, this is how to parent, but oh my gosh, it made such a difference. And I've taken it into schools and when I work with students, I just get a better response than, what do you want to be? I don't know. Okay, what do you enjoy? Oh, I really like shopping. but that's not relevant. Whoa, hold
Hang
on.
on. No.
Yeah, and talk about personal shoppers in Harrods and
Yeah.
those kind of things. Talk about fashion shoppers where they work for H&M, but they go and pick the line in the range. And they're like, you can do that?
Yup.
Yes. There's a whole industry called procurement based around buying things and
With other people's money is brilliant.
exactly, even better. So it's really like getting them to understand fundamentally who they are, what they like, and then let's talk about careers, because your suggestions were based on things they like, and there'll be things they've never heard of, because we're not exposed to enough.
No, it's a very true story. It's scary, the number of children that you talk to, and you say something like, they say, I like shopping, but I can't do that as a job. Well, no, you can.
Yeah.
In this day and age, there's pretty much anything you can do as a job.
Yeah.
The most niche of niche websites can be turned into a job. And I was writing an article not too long ago. We did a blog post on how to Google like a pro.
Oh, nice.
So all the little things like putting a minus sign in front of something you want to exclude. So if you wanted to find out what Inception means, and you just Google Inception, you get the movie. That's it. Whereas if you put minus movie, I can't get my head around it. Honestly. But anyway, if you put minus movie, then you get the definition and you get all the stuff that you're looking for.
I never knew that. Thank you.
So, it's a blog post on parentguidetogcse.com. No, I was writing the article and I asked my daughter for an example of something that I could Google that was a ridiculous question, and she went, I don't know. Can you ride a zebra? I was like, wow. Googled it. Sure enough, there is something out there about whether you can ride a zebra. There are pictures of people riding zebras. Turns out you probably shouldn't, because they don't really like it. They're not as domesticated, and they might well bite you. But it's out there, and someone has turned potentially that website into something that they can advertise on, that they can monetize in some way. That can be a job.
Yeah.
And you can do stuff that you love and make it into a career. I love teaching, but I also love singing. And so one of the other things that I do in my spare time, which is one of my favourite things all week, is I run a choir. And we do songs we know and love, and it's super, super fun, and it helps pay the bills.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've managed to combine the two things, and that just requires a little bit of creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
A bit of thought process. And so opening your mind, your horizons, I suppose, to think about, what am I good at? What do I know? What skills do I have? And then going, right, let's just brainstorm completely. How could I apply those?
Yeah.
Like, if it was easy, if I could get someone to pay me to do this all day long, then it's not a job. It's fun.
Yeah.
First of all, and I've got time. Like, if you're a student and you're still doing your GCSEs, there's still time to think about this stuff.
Yeah,
You've got
brilliant.
all this time to figure it out. Now's a good time to start brainstorming and getting your head around it, I suppose.
And it's really important to do it in that order, because if you go and look for a job and go, which one of these suit me, you're still only basing it on your current knowledge of the job market. And I feel like that's where a lot of us make mistakes. Like I did when I was younger. I was like, oh well, I know what acting is, so I'll be an actor, and that was it. Like there's nothing more to it. I'm not gonna look into anything else. I'll be an actor or I'll dance, because I do those two things. Whereas I didn't know about producers, I didn't know about directors, I didn't know you could write the script, I didn't know you could be like a camera team behind it, I didn't know you could be a stunt double. And as you grow older, you learn about all these other things that are still in the same industry. So actually, if your child doesn't know exactly what they want to do, something in is fine. Work with that and just give them a load of examples from job descriptions online to documentaries to YouTube. There's a YouTube video about everything of someone who does something really cool in that thing they like, and it will start to like become exciting to think about the future rather than just these stereotypical jobs. I get students who are like, oh, I want to be a mechanic. I'm like, okay, what's your favourite car? Oh, I love Jaguars. I'm like, okay, so I want to be a Jaguar mechanic. What do you mean? Like, be a mechanic that works with Jaguar and only works in Jaguar all day. Like, oh yeah, and it's just sometimes really simple things, or be an F1 mechanic and aim a little higher. But it's exactly that.
Yeah, a student at my school did exactly that. He knew exactly what he wanted to do as he got to the age of 16. He wanted to be an F1 mechanic. He didn't want to do A-levels. He wanted to work something in F1, and he worked his way around it. And now he's in a great team, travels the world, loves every second of it.
That's amazing. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about, actually. Yeah. Yeah, and he was passionate about that the whole time through school.
That wasn't a 15, 16-year-old decision. That was a 11, 12, 13, 14. He knew what he was going to be doing, how he was going to do it. Did a lot of research into the method to get there, or the route to get there, and he's still there today. So
found a route via kind of work experience, didn't
he? Did a lot of
local
work experience,
circuit and worked his way up through that, because that's one of the things that we advise parents to try and do, if possible, even if it's between year 11 and year 12, is to find some kind of relevant job experience. If you can go and do something, it doesn't have to be done via school. If you have a local company that you could say, look, I've got some free labour for you for a week. Are you interested? Most of them will make that work for you, and then you can go in and actually get an idea of whether it's something you want to do.
Yeah.
I was lucky in that my school used to finish at 1 o'clock on a Friday, and we would be allowed to do enrichment activities, which for some people just meant like go home. But I used to go along to my old primary school and help out in their classes for the afternoon, and I loved it. And that completely reinforced for me that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with children, I wanted to teach. That was what I wanted to do, and that experience made a massive difference as to whether I got into uni or not for the course that I wanted, because I could then say, well, here's my experience, here's what I've done, here are all the ways that I have worked to kind of expand my experience and to be ready for this training, and that was what got me in. So it's worth having a think about now, so that you've got time to go, well, what could I do in terms of work experience that fits around what I want to do and what I love? Where could I volunteer? How could I get a bit of a feel for it? So
a letter.
Coming back to my time in the classroom as a tutor, it's so clear about students know roughly what they want to do, so they arrange a work experience in it. They go and spend 2 weeks in a company, a fabulous company, and they come out of it realising actually it's not what they wanted. Or sometimes it works out the other way around, where they do the 2 weeks, obviously they're not getting paid for it, and at the end of it they get an offer, an opportunity to come back and work in the summer, do an apprenticeship, and it gives you that, or gives them that real clarity about, is this something that I want to do, or do I want to carry on with my education? Do I want to go to university, or is the apprenticeship route appropriate? And there's so many opportunities, or so many examples I have of that, where it just proves that work experience is so important. Whether you're in year 11, 12, 13, whatever it is getting that bit of experience is vital at this stage of their education.
Yeah, and it makes you stand out so much, because you're not just saying, I'd love to do this. It's like, everyone's got something they'd love to do. Show me the...
Yeah, well, they're making decisions based on having done it. That's far better than making a decision based on, I think it might be alright. Yeah. I'll give it a go. Make the mistake or get the experience early on. It makes you can make informed decisions nearer when it gets to the important point.
So true.
Let's take this back to you then. How old were you when you were youth MP?
GCSEs, did sixth form for a year and then went to youth MP, so probably 17.
And what was the catalyst for that? What made you go, oh yeah, I can do that?
So in year 11 they asked me to go to the youth MP elections, and I said no, it sounds boring. Then they asked me to run, and again I said no, that sounds really boring. And he was saying, oh well, just apply, it'll be good for your CV. This is back in the days of connections, because we had connections, and we had people who were like, the youth workers who were on your case to do something positive. And I was like, right, to shut you up, I will come along, I'll do a speech, I'll say I'm running, and then I'll write it on my CV later. Great. And then I went and did it, and then I won with like 68% of the votes.
Nice.
And I was like, that was not the plan. So I just got into the role due to the fact that I quite like the idea of school council. So I was like, it probably won't be that different. And then I won. I was like, well, I've won now, so I might as well see what it's like. Went to, I think, 2 meetings, and there was a real air of like, there's a young person in the room, great. Anyway, and I was like, whoa, hold on. So I decided to leave sixth form and do it like full-time voluntary for a year and just turn up to everything, and you have no choice but to take me seriously. Which, again, my parents were like, you can do it. If you stop being constructive at any point in that year, you're going back to sixth form. So it's in your hands what you'll make of it. Did it, fell in love with the impact of young people, working with young people, hated the politics. There was always an agenda behind every decision. It was never just, hey, this would be good for young people, so let's do it. So I decided, right, I'm going to figure out how to just do something good for young people as a business and see if it can be sustainable. And someone was like, yeah, you're good at this stuff, you could probably make a business out of it.
Nice.
So I got work experience, shadowed him around the country for a year or two, and then he mentored me into starting my own business. And now we're really good friends. He's the godfather to my daughter. Like, we're really, really good friends now. But it started with, just trying it, just go for it, just do a bit of volunteering, see
But
what
without
happens.
the youth MP role, you wouldn't have gone down the path.
No way. Without the youth MP role, I reckon I would have gone to like an acting school and done some acting and be hopefully acting now, probably. Yeah, or architecture, but that's completely different. I don't know how old I was when I figured out I loved that. But yeah, one of those two. But that youth MP, that work experience year of just volunteering and seeing what happens was the change of everything.
Awesome. So when you, like, of the people you've worked with, of the young people that you've worked with in schools, do you have any that particularly kind of stand out as like, yeah, I did that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I got a Facebook post came up the other day. I do spoken word. I released a spoken word piece, and someone shared it, and I just went to read it, and it literally said, "Listen to this random guy." This random guy came into my school in Blackpool, which was the first college I ever did as a proper job. He came to my school, and this random guy made me believe in myself, and this random guy made me think I can be more than I was. And due to this random guy, I got an agent. I'm on Spotlight. I'm acting, and I was like, whoa. And this was 7 years ago, and she posted that a few weeks ago. I was like, wow, that's amazing. There's a lad called David who literally works with us now. We've basically replaced whatever he was earning with River Island and stuff to do some Google Analytics for us, whilst he's deciding what he wants to do, and he's looking at unis and that kind of thing. But it's just, he went through our course. He talks about like how I was saying, how you get opportunities. You need to show what you can do. Don't just tell people, do an example. If you really like graphic design, go to a company with an example of a new logo for them. Like, do the thing, don't talk about doing the thing. So he came in and was like, looked at your website, it's rubbish. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. This is awful. Your YouTube channel, this makes no sense. And I was like, awesome, come do some work experience with us. And it was so good that I was like, I need to keep you. So how do we do that? And one day a week, he does our online stuff, and he's awesome. So yeah, and there's loads of little emails I get and direct messages on Instagram from students. It's awesome. It's the best part of it.
Nice. So what of what you go in and do, what's your favourite bit to deliver?
My favourite bit is our 6-week programme, the My Student Brand programme, because...
Hang on a second, it was superheroes a second ago.
No, he
Make
just
your
likes
mind
the
up.
dressing up.
I love the superhero programme, but I'm only in there like 3 times.
Okay.
So that's more, the students get more out of that than I get out of that, which is always the idea, to be fair.
Carry on.
Whereas the 6-week programmes with the older students, so like I've done it with year 9s, 10s, 11s and 12s. I love that programme because I get to see them for 90 minutes every week for 6 weeks. So you get a relationship. So we get to talk about things other than just what's in the workbook. And we've had some amazing conversations from students from minority backgrounds not feeling comfortable in how they deal with that, and ask about my experience and being able to help with that. Girls who weren't feeling like they could do the same things that boys were doing, and it was just it's been amazing because it's just freedom to have real conversations. And we talk about money, and we talk about tax, and we talk about credit cards and all these things that stung me when I got out of school that I had no idea was coming, because there's just it seems there's no space in the curriculum to
there
actually...
isn't. Even when you're teaching
that.
percentages, because maths teacher here,
Yeah.
you don't have the time to fit in all the stuff that you want to do, even though it would be so much a better way to teach it.
Yeah.
Because it's practical and it's useful and it makes sense to people.
Yeah.
There's not the time, there's not the space. It's the system is somewhat broken. But,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. So we fill
do
the
what
gaps.
we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
we just try and fill the gaps, and it's just so fun. And they're all like, "They take how much?" And it's awesome because at least I know you're prepared.
So with this programme, is it to small groups? Is it to whole year groups?
Typically, I like to only work with a max of 15 students at a time, especially in that programme because it's so in depth. Unless there's two of us, we do a bit more. But I'll see probably 45 to 60 students a day, and I'll see those same students every day for 6 weeks. We might do like a year assembly so that everyone gets something, but then after that I just see the same students.
And the makeup of those classes, mainly boys?
It's all dependent on the school. So every year it seems they change who schools need to be focused on most. So some schools look at it and say, all right, have our lowest ability and help them out. Other schools say, no, have our top performing students who academically are sound, no problems academically, but they're not well rounded because they've been so academically focused. So just help them be confident in speaking. And it all depends on the schools. You know, we try our best to not influence it. I think teachers know the kids better than I do. So I could give you like an idea, or I can tell you the content of the program, and they go make the decision. And that has been the best way I've seen it done. Teachers get it right. Teachers just put the right students in front of us.
Yeah.
When they give us the power, we give you an idea of what kind of student, but teachers just know. You tell them the program details, they go, right, I know exactly who needs to be in the room. And it works. It really works well. So yeah, it's my absolute favourite. And we cover everything from the this or that questions to the how much do you want to make by the time you're 25? What career? What's your family look like? And really explain to girls, you don't have to have children. And really explain to guys, you can fall in love with one person at 17 and you're still cool. Like, it's fine.
Nice.
What impact do you want to have on the world? Health, physical, mental, and most importantly, your bucket list. What do you want to just experience by the time you're 25? And the idea of asking all these questions is it's well-rounded. We're going to talk about what you want to do in the future. We're going to talk about the importance of exam results. But it's got to be weaved in with so much real life stuff that makes you go, oh, yeah, I need to do one GCSEs because I really want to get that car. And to get that car, I need that job. And to get that job, I need this.
The bucket list is related to the money side of it that you talk about as well. So you can't have that bucket list without the job that's probably going to support it.
Exactly. So we go career, finance, family, and then bucket list and impact. Yeah. And I don't even have to really say it to them. They sort of work it out themselves and go, oh, well, I want to see 7 countries by the time I'm 25. How much does that cost? So we look it up. And it's never as much as they think it is, which is great for them. They're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And the next page, when we start talking about, okay, how are things going now? They're like, yeah, I can see why I'm not going to visit 7 countries by 25. And we work on fixing it. And it's just a system that has worked really well. Let's get you excited about the future. Let's get you excited about who you are. Let's get you to understand how important you are and get you to like fall in love with yourself. Then fall in love with where you want to go. And then let's have the conversation about your behaviour now. But in a 6-week program, we probably talk about your behaviour in week 4 because there's no point in having that conversation until you're excited. Yeah. So yeah.
I wish you lot had been around and doing this stuff when I was at school because I could have done with a bit of that, I think.
That is the most common feedback we get from parents, teachers. It's amazing. And I got a call the other day to a college that I'm going to go and work in. And I asked him, out of interest, why have you moved college and got me in again? I really appreciate it, but why? And he's like, to be honest, you had a great effect on the students, but it was me. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, at the time, I was a PE teacher and I was just coasting, it was all right. I heard you and I was like, I could do more. And now I'm head of department at this college and I run this. And honestly, it's because of your speech. So thank you. And I was like, whoa, you're an adult.
That's powerful. Actual adult.
Yeah, I've always been scared of talking to teachers. I don't know why. I just always had that fear of like, I will not come in and talk to teachers. They study for years. They got degrees. Like, no.
We're all just making it up as we go along. That's how it works.
So now I do CPD, and now I've started to actually talk to teachers because I'm like, oh, they are open to hearing it if they care. I've seen some teachers who don't care as much, but the teachers who care about the kids are like, whatever you've got that I could take and like make my own, I'm going to use it, and it's been awesome.
And those are the teachers that we need more of in schools, but unfortunately they're all getting a little bit more switched off and leaving. We need to do something about this. We might need you back as an MP.
Honestly, my mum said this to me the other day. she was like, "Come on, look at everything that's going on. You were youth MP, and you could have if you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. Maybe when I'm way older and I've done all this stuff and I'm not relevant to students anymore. When I walk in and I say, hey, and they're like, what do you know?" Then I'm like, okay, this is my time. I'll train some younger people to go and do it. I'll step away. Maybe look at politics.
But you did say you were the youth MP who didn't like the politics behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Which possibly says you need to give it a year or two,
Yeah.
rediscover the love for it, and come back to it.
Or that could be my USP.
Well, exactly. Maybe that's what we
I'm
need a
sick
lot
of it too. That would be my slogan. Vote for Kamal, I'm sick of it too. And actually it might work.
We did consider, with all the chaos that was going on around the kind of the original Brexit referendum and things, setting up, I considered, because I was annoyed by it all, setting up the Common Sense Party. Because isn't it time for some common sense?
Tell me about it.
And I had all the slogans, but then it was all just a little bit too complicated and I don't actually have time. So it didn't happen. But yeah, it's...
Maybe.
Well...
I need to be the first Black James Bond first.
Okay.
And once I've done that, then...
Okay, important.
Yeah. I think Idris Elba's a little bit ahead of me.
Well, maybe a smidge. Yeah.
But I've got time.
He's getting old though, so...
Yeah. Yeah. I've got to wait till I reckon 40.
He's working it, so it's okay.
Oh, he is.
Okay.
Gorgeous. It's a gorgeous man.
Anyway, this is going in a different direction.
Moving on. Dear me. So if there are parents listening thinking, oh my goodness, we need this guy to come in and talk to our kids.
Yeah.
How do they go about doing that? Does it have to go via school? Do you do anything?
It used to. Now we've developed a little bit of a parent sort of, almost like a parent club. Just with suggestions of, hey, here's an exercise that could be fun. Here's a conversation. Here's a list of 10 questions. And we're looking to launch that sort of in the next couple of weeks because we're starting to get more and more messages from parents saying, hey, you came in, my child enjoyed it. What now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, ask your school. And it's sort of not fair.
Yeah, it's trickier to get the message through to school, isn't it? That's why we started the Parent Guide to GCSE. There just wasn't anything out there for parents, and as a parent, you've got 50% of their learning time is with you at home, and if you don't know how to support them, because everything's changed, like even since you did GCSEs, everything is different, and it's tough to know kind of where to start. How do I help? What is the right question? Because you do, as a parent, always question what you're doing. Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Am I asking them the right questions? Am I nagging them when they should be nagged? Am I nagging them too much? It's a really, really tough gig.
Yeah.
A really tough gig. So we thought we should start something that would then kind of support parents in asking the right questions and doing the right stuff. So it sounds like we need to have a chat about this.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
So where can parents find this information?
When it is launched, yeah.
When it is launched, it will be aimalittlehigher.com/parents.
Perfect.
And it'll be ready there. Yeah, try and keep it simple.
Yeah.
For the teachers who may be listening and they want to get you into their school?
aimalittlehigher.com. And that's got all
No
the information on there. Yeah, no /. Go to the main page, watch the demo video, see if you like the style, and then, get in touch and we'll see what we can build for your school.
I know I can vouch for it. You came in and spoke at a school when I was teaching there, and I was super busy because I was trying to get down to see you and go hi from the corner and just embarrass you completely. But I couldn't make it. But the kids were talking about it for a while afterwards. That's because amazing. They got so much out of it. Because it's nice for them to have someone come in who's not like, I'm a teacher and I care about your results. Because as a student, you feel like the teachers kind of, I don't know, have a vested interest. Yeah, there's an agenda with it. Whereas with someone else, it's like, no, this guy actually comes in because he cares. Yeah. And that's then making a big difference. And it's the same thing with parents, I think. You struggle to ask the questions because as a kid, you're like, parents having to go at me again, asking awkward questions. And you feel like they've got an agenda, even when as a parent you probably don't. Like, my mum told me that I should read the Harry Potter books because I'd really enjoy them. So I did not read the Harry Potter books for like 3-4 years because she had said I would enjoy them, and I was like, fine. then
I
I
know
definitely will not enjoy them
Yeah.
because I know best. And that's such a waste of my time. Because I could have reread them again in that time.
Yeah, it is crazy.
But it's psychological. I don't know whether it was a girl thing, just like that total.
Oh, don't say that. I've
Utter
got
rebellion.
2 girls.
Oh, it's going to
Or
be so
it could
much
just
fun.
be the teenage thing where the
Possibly, yeah.
shutters just come straight down and
Yeah.
stay down for about 6 years or so.
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah, we cheated with our kids. And a friend of ours is in HR, and so we got her to do a little kind of mock interview with them and ask all the
Nice.
questions that they'd be asked if they were in an interview for a job or something. And she did an amazing job with it. And it was nice to have someone else asking the
Yeah.
question, because it wasn't then a parent thing, and it wasn't like, well, you should know that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're my parent. So that is something that's probably worth considering if you've got a friend who you trust enough to do that kind of thing and ask the right questions. If you're struggling with that relationship
Nice.
with your child, because for whatever reason, you know, it does sometimes break down with
Oh,
parents
yeah.
and teenagers. We were told years ago they go through the teenage phase and they turn into whatever teenagers are, but you will eventually get your child back.
Yeah.
You just have to be patient.
Yeah,
They
that's
will
right.
grow out of it. You know, we
We'll
did
get
a
there.
blog post. There's no cure for being a teenager. It's
Yeah.
like neurological science as to why they go a little bit
Right.
doolally. But you know, if you aren't in a position where you can have those kind of conversations, like the interview me questions and
Yeah,
stuff, then you know there are other people that could do that. It's worth outsourcing,
Yeah,
possibly.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think part of what we're going to start doing more of is we used to do these YouTube clips where it was like one question, you play it, plays the question, and it's probably going to start doing more of that. So it's like, oh, here's this guy, he does poetry and stuff, it's kind of cool. Oh, look, there's a question. And it just becomes a bit more casual.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, my friends had the 2 approaches. They had that really like, hey, nurturing, no. Then there was the conversation with my dad after I failed my mocks, and that was a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He said, in this house from now on, C's are crap, B's are better, and A's are acceptable.
Nice.
Which was really harsh, and I ignored completely until I got a piece of homework back from my English teacher, and it had a C, and I was like, did she just call me crap? And I was like, madam, I can't take this home help. And it just created this mission to just get to the acceptable standard. And it stopped all conversations about anything below. So it wouldn't be like how comes I got a C? It was always, why didn't I get an A? And just ask better questions. I got a B, why didn't I get an A? And my dad's questions were, is it an A? No, cool, well, I need to figure out why it wasn't an A. And we stopped conversating about anything else. And it just became, we talk about A's, so I must get A's. And then, in the end, I got 7 A's and 2 A stars. But that's only because my inner personal standards changed. And I think if you can find a way to almost set a standard of these numbers now are what's acceptable,
Yeah.
you just change the belief inside. It was really weird. It just reprogrammed my whole mind to just, I'm going to aim for A's. Whereas before, I was like, C's a pass, I passed.
Yeah.
I mean, students these days, targets are everything, and the targets are given to you by the school, by the teacher, and generally, students work to those. They don't aspire to go beyond them.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a kind of
But-
that will do message.
Yeah.
Rather than you can go to the top here.
Oh, we
But
go
they're
in
based on like when you were in year 6 and you did
Yeah.
your SATs.
Yeah.
Like I was a whole other person at that point.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Oh,
So
yeah, I talk to students about that because I'm like, you can take your target grade, but if you're competitive like I am, I saw my target grades and I literally wrote next to them what I actually wanted. I got the little blue sheet of the exams and I wrote next to it, cool, I want this grade and that, this grade and that. And that was my target, regardless of what that teacher had thought. And if we can get students to start thinking a bit more competitively, a bit more freely for themselves, I always explain it like a thermostat. And say to students, look, my thermostat set at like 20 degrees. It'll work really hard, it'll get hot, it'll get to 20, and you'll hear the click and it goes off because it's made it. And if I open the window, it gets cold, you'll hear it come on again. And I'm like, whatever you're okay with getting now, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to work real hard after parents' evening, real hard after your mocks, and you'll get to it, and then you will relax. And eventually the room gets cold again. And you either get that new grade, because that's just timing, or you work hard again to get to that. So what if we all just set our thermostat a little bit higher and we all said, hey, let's just aim for 9s. And what it does is it gives you room to fail. You might aim for 9s, it goes wrong, you get 8s. Well done.
Yeah.
It goes terrible. You get 7s. Well done. Whereas if you aim for just like a 4's a pass, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, if you aim for a 4 and then in the exam you sneeze and your snot covers one of your answers and you and you miss the 1 mark,
Nice.
you've now failed because you were only
Yeah.
aiming for just enough. You leave no room for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
So even just out of the freedom to fail a bit more, aim for the 9 and just see what happens.
Yeah. And the way you explained it, I liked. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I've got a B, I've got a whatever, I'm a failure,
Yeah.
I suck at this. It was, right, what do I need to do to fix this?
Yeah.
It was, there's something here that just isn't quite right yet, and I can do that.
Yeah.
It was kind of something to move you on rather than something that defines you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, I think, is another thing that parents have struggled with. We've had parents saying that they've come home with their mock results, they're really disappointing, and they're just saying, right, I'm not doing it anymore, I'm not revising, because it's visceral, isn't it? Like, you get those and you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And you've got to stop kind of thinking like that and go, do you know what? This is where I am now. It's not where I want to end up. What do I need to do?
I've got a whole literal 10-minute section of the assembly where I just talk to them about the fact that they're a miracle, and that your grade is just a result of something you do. It's nothing to do with you as a person. You're the miracle. You're still that same baby that everyone's excited about. It's you. Just, you've got this grade. And all mocks do is say, if you continue to approach school in this way, this is what will probably happen. If you're unhappy with it, just change the approach. From failing my mocks to 7 A's and 2 A stars, 3 things changed. That's it. I stopped turning up late to every lesson. Which for me meant avoiding, we have these red benches. And in between every lesson, go to the red benches because everyone knows we'll be there. And if a male teacher comes, the girls run in and we get sent away. If a female teacher comes, we run in the toilet. And we've got it all planned out. It's sussed.
I'm having flashbacks now.
Just hold your water bottle out. Have your water bottle in your pocket ready.
Yeah.
Teacher comes, I'll just fill up my water.
Yeah.
And I was late to every lesson. So my solution, I first tried to be on time. Very hard to leave the red benches once you're there. So I just avoided the red benches for a little while and got to lessons on time. Secondly, I just moved seats. I can't explain the power behind moving seats. I sat next to like my closest friends. So all I want to do to them is talk. And if I don't get the work, at least I can feel good about myself by making my mates laugh. So I moved to the front of the class. It's the smartest person in the room, so I could cheat. And then I realised you can't cheat on the practice tests. So I'm still getting the same results. So plan B, help. And I just asked her for help all the time. Then got to a point where I was like, if you're my real friends, you won't care if I'm asking for help. So, madam, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And got the help I needed. And the third thing was revision. Just did a little bit. And I learned set weekly goals, not daily goals. If you say I'm going to revise an hour every day, you might on Monday, you might on Tuesday, Wednesday, you don't, and now you're like, oh, I've messed it up now, and it stops. If you say 5 hours a week, by Sunday, you just make sure you've hit the 5. Whether that means on Sunday you're doing 4, or it means on Sunday you're doing 1, you give yourself the space. And if you can start helping them to set goals, to create habits that are sort of scoreable, it makes it way easier.
Yeah.
And it's a bit more fair. You know, I can say, to be honest, Mum, to be honest, Dad, I'm not feeling that great today. I just want to chill. And it's like, all right, fine. Well, you need to do 7 hours this week. Let's not do it today. And tomorrow you're probably going to have to do an hour and a half. And then the next day do an hour and a half. But you'll be back on track for the 7. So that's fine. And then it becomes this thing of like, oh, I've got to do it, but you're willing to negotiate with me. Thanks.
It makes so much more sense. When you're at uni, there's no one to make you sit down and do your work. So you've got to be able to get to that point of self-discipline.
Yeah.
And if you find a way that works for you, then that's so much better than having to have someone else kind of do it for you.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I interrupted. What was your third thing?
Literally. So turn up on time, move seats, and then start to revise, and just be a bit creative. Your phone, record your voice. I don't like my voice, get over it. Record your voice, headphones in, walk the dog, play it back to yourself. Doing the hoovering, play it back to yourself. You're playing FIFA on a PlayStation, just play it back to yourself.
I like that you think teenagers hoover. I'm looking forward to when your children are teenagers and you find out that that's not how it works.
Oh, we had strict chores that had to be done.
You went from teenagers hoovering to teenagers playing FIFA.
That
one
was-
I believe, one I don't. I'm not going to tell you which
I
one.
think I'm going in order of my evenings of how it used to work. I
I
could.
think we're doing this wrong.
But it's not FIFA, it's Fortnite. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than yeah, exactly that. And even like I always joke with them about, you know, when you're at a house party, check your headphones in, and they never do that, of course. But it's just showing like that's all it takes. That's how I won the Peter Jones challenge. I knew all my numbers, all my details because I had it in my headphones, and just whenever I was doing something random, it was playing. It just repeated. I got an A star in English literature. I didn't like English literature, but we had to do role plays. So it's me, my best mate Andy, a bunch of people from our class acting as characters from the book. It was the funniest thing ever. So the exam came around. How did this character feel? I'm like, easy. That was Andy. He looked like an idiot. He said this, and he felt like this, and it just flowed. It just didn't feel hard because the revision was so funny. So it's like, if you can hack that system of make revision as entertaining as revision can be.
Yeah.
You were talking about teaching in the choir, and I actually had this vision of like a choir singing the periodic table, or like singing the order in which, you know, certain
There totally is
events
a
happen.
song for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I only know the first line, but I do know at least the first 5
Yeah.
elements. Yeah.
And it's like, just make it entertaining, make it a bit more engaging. It's how we learnt our ABCs.
Mm-hmm.
We learnt Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, they changed the lyrics, we learnt our ABCs. I still do that to this day. And it's like, let's just use all these techniques that adverts use to get our money, to just get our grades.
Yeah.
And when I sort of pitch it at that level, everyone goes, oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I see the same advert 17 times a day.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be repeated to stick in my mind. So
Yeah, it's if you, in theory, I think it's 10 minutes after you've learned something, you review it, and then it's a day, 2 days,
So 10 minutes a day, a
week,
week, a month,
3 months. I remember now.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then that is
That's
in.
the science behind it. Is to get it
Wow.
from your short term to your long term memory. That's what you should do.
5 stages.
Yeah, 5
Wow.
stages.
And
So
it's stuck in
yeah.
your mind.
yeah,
Fair.
and that's what it is. I give the analogy of like it's like a library.
Yeah.
You walk into the library and you say to the librarian, right, I'd like this really obscure book on something really random.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. They have to look it up, and then they have to go and search for it, and it's like dusty, and they have to climb up the ladder and go fetch it. But if you go back the following day, they'll remember where it was, and they'll be able to go back and get it. They'll be like, seriously, are you kidding me? I've got to climb the ladder again.
Yeah, yeah.
But they'll
They
know
know
where it
where
is.
to
And then if you go back every day for the next week and you ask for the same book, they're going to get to the point where they're like, right, it's here. It's under the desk.
It's
I'm
so
just
true.
going to hand it to you because they know it's important to you.
Yeah.
So they store it somewhere helpful and easy, and that's what you're doing with your brain. You're saying, like, this is information that I need at the moment. Can you store it somewhere handy for me? I'm going to keep reminding you of it so you know it's important, so that you know really quickly, like, it's here. It's exactly here.
Yeah.
Like the stuff on your computer desktop, you're like, where have I stored that random thing that I made 3 years ago? I don't know. But if it's something that you use on a daily basis, you can get to it straight away.
Oh my gosh, if your children have iPhones, make them swap someone's phone and find an app quickest.
Oh, yeah.
It's impossible to find an app on someone else's phone.
Yeah.
It's all in the wrong place, and you have to actually remember what it looks. And it's hilarious to watch and just scramble, like, where is it? It makes no sense. And it's exactly that, it's not in the right place where you put it.
Yeah. So
That's a good analogy.
like if you read your notes, then your brain goes, oh yeah, we'll remember this because we wrote this down, and it will recognise and bring back what you wrote because that's exactly what you wrote. Whereas if someone takes your notes away and then asks you a question, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't have that nudge anymore. I don't have the little map of the library in front of me anymore, which is why you've got to get it firmly in your long-term memory. So just reading your notes once before you go in the exam is not going to do the trick. Like writing out the same thing 3 times once is not going to do the trick. You've got to revisit. And so it's as you said, hacking it. It's finding what works for you and then using it.
Yeah.
And sticking with it. And like making a plan so that
Yeah.
you know you've revisited everything and you've got back to where you should be. And And then if you've got stuff that just won't sink in, because there's sometimes stuff that you just can't quite do.
Yes.
Like there's words you just can't spell unless you write them down and you look at them, because there's something in your brain that just goes nope.
Yeah.
If you've got those things, make a note of them on a bit of paper, and just because it's like a handful of things, take that with you, read it literally before you walk in the exam, leave the bit of paper in your bag, obviously, because we're not advocating cheating here. And then as soon as you get in, you should have some spare paper, or you've got the back of your exam booklet. Just regurgitate it like straight on there. You can do that, I think, even before you've started, because you've not opened your exam paper. And then all the things that you knew you were struggling to remember are there, right there.
Yeah. I did that complete mind dump of just random things in random orders that meant nothing together.
The question paper, but at least you got it all down.
Yeah. Because you can take your brain in with you, and that way you only have to remember it for like the 5 minutes it takes to get yourself lined up in, you know. And so there's ways around it, even if you don't have the best memory.
Yeah.
So it's just you've just got to find what works for you, and make it happen. But it then comes back to mindset. It's just, are you going to do what it takes? Are you going to aim that little bit higher?
Yeah.
Are you going to make it happen? Because you're the only person that can.
That's it, and that's why the future's got to be exciting, and the possibility's got to be exciting. Because if I know once I get over this nonsense, that's there for me, I'll do the nonsense. I'll do that. That's fine, because I know the end goal is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Right. Well, I think that's probably about it. I think we've covered pretty much everything in the whole world and a bit more. So massive thank you again. If you are part of school, or you're a parent and you want to get involved and find out a little bit more about how you can get your child to aim a little higher, or frankly if you need a bit of inspiration yourself, aimalittlehigher.com, and get in touch, give them a shout. And huge thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Very much.
I think I've come away with some useful stuff, which is always a good sign when you're recording a podcast. I'm like, what can I aim a little bit higher on now?
That's it. I've learned how to Google.
Fab. Then we've all done our job.
That's
all
it.
good. So until next time, we have been the Parent Guide to GCSE podcast. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about what we do, we're at parentguidetojgce.com. We have lots of useful free stuff to support you. You should get yourself on the mailing list so you get all the tips and tricks as we come out with stuff and free things. But we also have a support program. So if you are really struggling with helping your child and knowing exactly what to do, we are there for you. Just take a look at parentguidetojgce.com, and then if you click sign up, it will tell you everything that you need to know about joining if you'd like us to lend a bit of a hand.
Oh my gosh, I had a peek of your website. There was one thing that I was like, oh, that's amazing. You had this table of how to know what to revise when.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Because I was like, I have this conversation with students all the time. Yeah, but what do I revise, and when do I do it, and how do I fit it in? So yeah, I joined just for that. I think that table was awesome.
Awesome, right, we'll pay you later. No, kidding, obviously. Right, this has been the Parent Guide to GCSE.com podcast. It's been awesome. We will talk to you again in about a month.
Know more about how you can support your child through their GCSEs, then head over to parentguidetojgcse.com. See you next time.